Thank you for tuning in to another episode where this week, again, we are going to break form a little bit. Last week, we left off covering some of the changes to the standard, and we're going to pick up where we left off next week. But this week, we had some interesting information come out of a meeting that took place, training session that took place just last week in Fort Worth with the Aerospace Auditor Workshop. Yeah. And you attended that, and tell us some things that you found out while you were there.
Well, the AAQG puts on this auditor workshop every year, and it was held in Fort Worth this year. And but it was an excellent conference, and presentation were very well done, and it was very helpful. They focused primarily on rolling out of the new standard and the timeline. And they also talked about the extensive auditor training that's looming on the horizon for all of us aerospace auditors.
Did they cover any of the actual changes that they're going to see in the standard and what they expect the auditors to focus on at all?
Yeah, they did. They not in a great deal of detail. They're waiting for the extensive training to hit us with that. But they did walk through a number of things, and it's basically what we built into this course and these videos, and so you'll see as we go down the pike.
Yeah. The timeline, again, we've talked about that before, but it was kind of what you were saying seemed like it was a sobering wake up a little bit.
Yeah, there was a question raised that had they done an analysis to see whether they had enough auditors to be able to meet this timeline that they're looking at, and the answer was no, and they were a little alarmed about that themselves.
Yeah. Actually, it'll help. We'll put the timeline back on the screen so that you can, if you missed it in one of our previous episodes, you'll see it. If not, you'll remember it. And you'll see here the original time frame, and then some things shifted as far as publication dates. And that means, as you can see now, everything's kind of crunched. And what we're also seeing is our original predictions on what we thought would happen are proving to be pretty accurate, including our admonition to act now and not to wait. With that extra time.
That was one of the main things that came out of the training. Was AAQG was telling you need to tell your people don't wait.
So didn't they specifically talk about the AS9100 publication date?
Yes, they did, and they said that AS9100 we were predicting would be out in October. The actual publication date will be September 20th. They also told us that the auditor training will be available November 30th. So, and we must, all of us that are aerospace auditors, the other folks in Eagle Force, we all must complete this training and pass the test for both ISO 9000, for AS9100, AS9110, AS9120, and AS9101, which is the audit methodology and the forms.
Kind of a kicker question here. So is AS9101, is that going to be published in September with the other standard?
Well, actually, no. They're predicting November.
November, which is crazy to think about. So the standard is coming out in September.
Yeah. Training
is going to take place by December, which again this is extensive that we're talking about. And all audits from June 15th, 2017 and on, those have to be done to the new standard. So you've got September into December, auditor training begins in December, and then you've only got a handful of months when all of these audits have to take place to the new standard.
Right.
Which, is kind of crazy, but at the same time, to me at least, it almost seems like this is more of an auditor/registrar kind of problem.
That was pretty well occurring to most everybody initially. If you remember, Rev C turned into a bit of a disaster for everyone, and one of the reasons is, when do most people file their income tax?
The day it's due.
The day it's
April
due.
15th.
So when you look at this standard expiring, what happened in Rev C was everybody pushed off their upgrade audits till close to the expiration date. And because there was not very many auditors, the lack of auditors meant they couldn't accommodate all that, and it turned into a disaster.
Yeah.
And so this time. They've pushed that forward now to June 15th to avoid that, trying to make sure that they space this out in case there are not enough auditors.
Yeah, regardless of when the standard itself expires, they've put this set in stone date of June 15th.
Yeah.
So this kind of gets the pressure put back on the organizations now, because now you guys have to be ready for these audits. You know, the June 15th date, any audits after that. So whenever your audits come up, you know, post from that date, you know, on, you're going to have to be ready for it.
Right.
But
they're not, auditors, registrars are not going to have potentially the availability to be making things move around, so they're locking those dates down.
yeah, which that's the other side of the coin, is auditor availability.
Right.
When do they anticipate the auditors will successfully complete their training?
Well, that was a question that came up.
That was a question.
And there wasn't a whole lot of answer. I mean, if I dropped everything, I could probably get trained, you know, first part of December. But I can't do that. Neither can the rest of us. And you can, of course, drop everything. And I
Right.
don't think the other auditors. So I don't know how long this is going to take.
Could be a while.
It could be a while.
And again, the timeline requires that the June 15th and on, they're going to be to the new standard. But the other thing that seems to me is that these audits, they're going to require more days to do than just an upgrade audit. Have they talked at all about how many days they think this is going to add?
Well, we asked that question, of course. It was on all of our minds because it's going to add to the problem. But no, they haven't. And matter of fact, while we're making this video, they are actually meeting in Fort Worth trying to decide how many audit days to add to a regular surveillance audit. I think it's going to be at least a research audit anyway.
Yeah, and with the amount of major changes to the ISO standard, kind of seems like the entire system is going to need to be audited.
Right. We don't know what that will be, but I would assume it would be at least what you're expecting for a research audit for everybody.
Yeah. So to kind of summarize this, or just to distill this down, you know, you're looking at auditors needing to be ready, but you need to be ready. So you got two scenarios here. If you are ready by the June 15th date and the auditors aren't, you're going to be fine.
Right.
But if the auditors are ready by that date and you aren't, you're going to have a problem at that point. And you know, they're because whenever they come in, they're coming in for the new standard, and so if you haven't prepared for that, that's going to be an issue.
That's going to be bloody.
Yeah. What should organizations do then?
Well, the AAQG suggests the same thing we were suggesting, is start now, but what specifically they were saying that you need to get a gap analysis of your system and a plan forward so you get this thing in place.
Again, this question comes up, putting a plan together when the standard isn't even out yet.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Well, we've had advanced knowledge of what this is going to be and we've been working on this for over a year. I don't know how an organization that didn't have that or hasn't been able to do all that background work is going to be able to do this.
Yeah. So what do? Just run around screaming and panic, or what?
Yeah.
What's
Stop screaming would be the first thing. But we get it. We understand what the situation that you're in, and that's why we worked on this so hard. So we've been doing a lot to put a package together to be able to be of help to you. We're doing this video series, which admittedly is protracted, and that's why we invite your participation. But we've also put together an online course, which will get you started on this thing and helpful that. And we also offer on-site support for doing a gap analysis and planning a path forward.
Our main intention is to keep you informed.
Right.
We're not trying to say that the sky is falling, but we're here to help you with, you know, understanding the lay of the land and what's happening.
Our intention was, we got your back on this. Our intention is to be a help to you. We'll get through this together. We have a lot of clients. We're not going to let any of them down. So we're doing this to help make you a success of what you're doing and not have this thing be a hair on fire issue any more than it has to be.
Yes. The gap analysis, the putting the plan together, that kind of thing, we would be happy to help you with that. The one thing I would suggest, if you would like us to do that, you should contact us fairly soon. We're already pretty far booked out, well into this year, and so if you wait, again, the whole name of this game is don't wait. Let's get a plan in place. Let's get something in place so that you're prepared on time and you're ready to go.
And I'm confident if you do that, the registrars are going to work with you. You should be hearing from them shortly to notify you of this. We're here to help you. We invite your participation, and we'll do this together.
Absolutely. So that'll wrap it for this week. Again, next week we are going to pick right back up where we left off. Actually, next week I think is a pretty fun episode.
He makes fun of me. It's not. I don't like it.
It's very fun. So yeah, join us. And again, thank you always for your feedback and for your questions. And we look forward to hearing from you. And we will see you next week.